This is over 500 sheets of construction paper, and I'm going to use it to make a guitar. I'm not the first to make a paper guitar, but this is my first time making a paper guitar. Essentially, we'll be manufacturing a material called micarta. Micarta is made by laminating multiple layers of thin material after impregnating it with resin. Things like canvas, paper, and even denim can be used to make a solid structure of micarta. Like I said, I may not be the first to make a paper guitar, but I can't say I've ever seen anyone cut a thick stack of construction paper on a table saw before. Sean and I did not want to spend hours cutting with scissors, utility knives, or even one of those guillotine-style paper cutter thingies. After my wife gave birth to my son, efficiency in the shop has become one of my main goals, and this seemed the most efficient. I only had an inkling of an idea how to do this, but most of it was trial and error. I didn't want the bottom of the paper to stick to the melamine mold, so we applied paste wax as a mold release. This should hopefully keep things from becoming an issue later on. That being said, the layering process began. We decided to layer these up at about 3/8 of an inch at a time. I don't know why, but that's what YouTube University said to avoid the curing issues with the epoxy, like cracking or overheating. I'm still no epoxy expert, and probably never will be, but I still find it satisfying to use, and it's found its way into more of my experiments recently. Back to the whole efficiency thing. I couldn't think of a better way to layer this stuff up other than using a sponge roller and tray. Sean knocked out the first batch, and it was honestly extremely soothing. While doing this for hours, I got to thinking a lot about the history of paper, which is weird. Did you know a Japanese architect named Shigeru Ban, I think that's how you say it, made an entire house supported by paper tubes? He also designed emergency shelters made from the same paper tubes after a massive earthquake that left multiple families without homes. On the music side of things, paper is the only reason we know about the level of genius obtained by classical composers such as Beethoven and Bach. If they didn't have paper, their masterpieces would have never been transcribed. Maybe. Paper is also money, so that's cool too. Essentially, paper is one of the most important materials on the planet, and we do stupid things with it like wiping our ass with toilet paper, printing Twilight books on it, and even making guitars out of it. I wonder what else paper could be used for. For a majority of the layers, we use clamping cauls on only one side to add an intentional curve. The idea was to have vertical stripes of paper on the back. Then we could glue a solid black stack of paper to the top. Everything about this design will be intentional. I even created a new carve pattern on the CNC, which was optimized to reveal the most amount of layered paper as possible. Yes, a paper guitar does seem gimmicky, but I wanted to make one that seems like a classic, high-quality instrument with extreme visual appeal. Before gluing on the flat black paper top, I needed to get smooth flat surfaces on both ends of the drum sander. Just watch how this starts to reveal a wild array of colors on the backside. Recently, I've been taking this whole guitar building thing a bit more serious, and decided to try actually selling them, including builds that we won't even do videos on. This is turning into such a passion that Sean and I decided to take the risk to get 20 guitars made by May of 2026 to present and hopefully sell at the Dallas International Guitar Festival. So if you're in Texas on May 1st or plan being there at the festival, make sure to stop by and say hey. Anyways, the reason I mention this is because I made this new jig for the CNC. It should hopefully help us knock out more guitars in the background while we focus on the hand-built, more custom items for videos. The problem with new jigs is the potential room for error, especially when using a CNC, kinda like with what's about to happen. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. At least not yet. Ignoring the big gaping hole I'll have to fix in a bit, I let the CNC get to work. Again, I'll always have hand built guitars, but I really wanted to try this carve out before using it on the Dallas Guitar Festival guitars. I wanted the top black, but I also wanted the layered colored paper to reveal all the way around the edges. Craziest part, I haven't learned 3D design yet, so these are all 2D vector toolpaths. I created a toolpath every 1/64th of an inch with a 1/64th step down, and ended up with 76 total separate toolpaths to create this 3D carve. The jig needed some tweaking because there was a lip around the edges from the center line being slightly off from the body. That's what Sean is removing here on the spindle sander. Okay, so you've probably noticed a big issue, if you can't tell. And that just happened to be a mess up on the CNC, completely my fault, but I would like to take this time to actually turn it into a feature rather than try to match it up perfectly. So since we're going to have a walnut neck and an actual walnut back plate that you can see there, I'm thinking about doing some walnut stitches. Kind of like that. Be 3 lines of just walnut stitches, and I made these little pieces. The key is to not go too deep. But it'll kind of tie in the one species of wood in this guitar, and who knows? We'll see what happens. I don't know why this idea popped into my head, but it just seemed right. The neck and back plate being made of walnut makes it an easy way to tie it all together. I'm also planning on making the fretboard out of paper though. The paper fretboard almost seems 100% necessary, and the walnut neck and back plate give it that classy, high-end guitar that I was going for. Take a look at how cool this is. I know this is literally all paper and epoxy, but I wanted to soak in just one more layer to lock in any inconsistencies before I add finish. It was also nice to get a brief reveal of the multicolored layers and see that my carve idea actually worked with one of the signature Scarlet designs. After the epoxy dried, I filled some micro imperfections, sanded it, and finished off the shape by hand with a rasp. This cutaway just makes it easier on the left hand to reach the higher frets. It also reveals just a bit more color from the back. After this, it was sanded to 320 grit and oiled for finish. I felt that a high gloss film build for the finish would take away from the paper look. Check it out. The fretboard is essentially made the same as the top, so I'm going to tell you about something super important while making it. First, this is our last giveaway of the year, and technically the first one of 2026, and it's huge. The winner will get a completely custom made guitar by us, made to their exact shape, color, dimensions, with their choice of pickups, scale length, bridge hardware, and even their choice of case. This is huge. If you've ever had an idea for your dream guitar, we will make it for you when you win. That being said, the reason we are doing this giveaway is a little bit different this time. This is the Malin family. Josh is a good friend of mine, and his wife Mandy was recently diagnosed with cervical cancer. Worst part is, it may have spread to her liver, but it's too close to other vital organs to biopsy, making treatment far more difficult than it already needs to be. Josh and Mandy are kind, modest, hardworking young parents that stay involved with the community while raising a 5-year-old daughter and an almost 2-year-old son. They're truly great people and don't deserve to be in this situation. I hold a lot of respect for Josh and Mandy and can't even imagine going through this with a looming fear of not knowing what's going to happen. While many of us were spending time with our families over the holidays, opening presents, eating great food, this family of 4 was dealing with battling cancer. So I'm placing their GoFundMe in the description of this video. All proceeds will go to the Malin family to help with medical bills, child care, and overall financial strain to help keep the family at ease, as well as help Mandy fight. If you have it in you to donate even just a small amount to help out this family, I, along with the Malins, would truly appreciate it. Let's all pitch in and do something kind to end 2025 and kick off 2026. All that being said, my only goal here is to get this GoFundMe as much attention as possible. So all you have to do is like this video and leave a comment below to win the custom guitar build. A subscription or membership is not required this time. I'll tell you when we plan to select the winner by the end of this video. Back to the fretboard. There are so many colors showing in the paper, so I chose white epoxy for the inlays. It was the only option to provide the most contrast and still keep the guitar from feeling too gimmicky. While that dried, it was finally time to break down the walnut for the neck. It felt nice to actually work with some wood in this project, and don't get me wrong, I think the paper portion is one of the coolest things Sean and I have tackled, but going back to my roots for this just felt right. I was also doing something new with this, so after milling up the blank, I used the CNC to cut the truss rod channel and drill in some locator pinholes. This is actually faster with a router and a drill, but I needed absolute precision this time. Recently, I've been getting so many comments about me talking so much, so edge sander just for this purpose. It makes angled headstocks way easier. I can't figure out how to get rid of what they call the belt belly when using one of these on longer pieces. So if anyone has any experience or tips for this, I'd really appreciate it. The fretboard turned out pretty cool, but I couldn't wait to get this thing glued up so I could add a radius to it. I just knew the radius would add even more color variation. Unfortunately, epoxy doesn't cure for at least 24 hours, so I still had to wait a bit. You won't have to wait. You only have to wait like 2 minutes or something. Eagle Eyes may have noticed this is not a quarter sawn edge. That only gets about 2 inches in though, so it's enough for the tongue and the heel. The rest is actually quarter sawn, so long-term stability is not going to be an issue. So I messed up. We have a square fretboard on the bottom, which is what I want. I want these sharp, nice, crisp lines, but underneath it there's a rounded tongue that's supposed to come out. and I left myself no way to accurately line up a template to it. So I'm going to have to finagle some things and hopefully come up with a weird fix for that. Because I want this fretboard to almost touch the pickup and also overhang the neck. So it's going to take some hand tool operations and some new templates and routing, things I haven't done before, things that are normal to me, but in this case it's a little different. So hopefully we can come up with a fix. This is the problem you face when you try something new every time you build. And the order of operations on this with this specific type of glue-in neck is new. As you know, the whole design of this guitar is new. But yeah, let's see if we can. After I got that tiny little disaster fixed, Sean used our favorite neck shaping bit to knock out a majority of the carving. Some may call it cheating, but remember, efficiency. It makes it so much easier to just blend everything afterwards. If you've never made a guitar before, this may seem like the most intimidating part. But after you do it for the first time, you'll be able to do it over and over again, no issue. It seems intimidating because it's out of the realm of squares. There's not a single square angle on a good looking guitar. Most of woodworking deals in squares, but guitars deal in center lines. It's just a mind shift on how to approach a project. But once that shift happens, the guitar addiction begins. This is the part I've personally been waiting for. A 12-inch radius seemed to be enough to reveal all the colors throughout the fretboard. I know I kept speaking on efficiency, but still do this by hand. I'll probably make a radius jig in the future to speed this up, but for now, it's fast enough. Slowly but surely, the colors started to reveal themselves and it was looking wilder by the minute. It was definitely bound to pop against the black paper top of the body and the walnut neck. The last order of business before gluing in the neck and oiling it is fretwork.
Sick. Cool.
Yeah. Fretwork and I have a hate-hate relationship. I hate it, it hates me. So I'm barely going to show it here. They turned out pretty well, but it's always such a pain. I think I hate it because it's always takes so long if you do it right. They simply require a lot of attention to detail. Last step is oiling the neck, then I'm going to get this thing set up. Stand by for some beauty shots, a sound test, and then learn how we are going to select a winner for the New Year's Crazy Guitar giveaway. There's no purchase necessary for this giveaway. If you want to see the rules and regulations, I will leave a link to the website in the description.